Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hello and good morning. You're listening to The Morning Five. I'm your host, Michael Ware, President and CEO of the Center for Christianity and Public Life. Thanks for joining us today. Today is Monday, the 1st of June. I'll begin with a reading from Hebrews 1. Long ago, at many times and in many ways, God spoke to our fathers by the prophets. But in these last days he has spoken to us by his Son, whom he appointed the heir of all things, through whom also he created the world. He is the radiance of the glory of God, and the exact imprint of his nature, and he upholds the universe by the word of his power. After making purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty on high, having become as much superior to angels as the name he has inherited is more excellent than theirs. For to which of the angels did God ever say, "You are my son, today I have begotten you"? Or again, "I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son"? And again, when he brings the firstborn into the world, he says, "Let all God's angels worship him." Of the angels, he says, "He makes his angels winds and his ministers a flame of fire." But of the Son, he says, "Your throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of uprightness is the scepter of your kingdom. You have loved righteousness and hated wickedness. Therefore God, your God, has anointed you with the oil of gladness beyond your companions." May God bless the reading of his word. Well, friends, thanks for joining us today. Let's catch up on the news together. First up, President Donald Trump has sent back a counteroffer to end the war with Iran. The proposal involved Pakistani intermediaries who have hosted peace talks. The full details of the new proposal are not yet public, though it would reportedly include an end to hostilities in exchange for Iran lifting its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. It comes after the president met with advisors for 2 hours on Friday in the Situation Room to talk about how to end the war. Next, for today's updates, the United States military has killed more than 200 people in its bombing campaign in the Caribbean and the Pacific, which the administration has said is targeting drug smuggling. Lawmakers and legal analysts have questioned the foundation for these strikes, as the military is banned from intentionally targeting civilians, even those believed to have committed crimes, unless they pose an immediate threat. Congress has also not declared war or passed an authorization for the use of military force. The most recent strike came Saturday when the military killed 3 men in the Eastern Pacific. Last up, after several musicians dropped out of a planned celebration of America's 250th anniversary, President Trump said over the weekend that he is shifting gears and will make the event more like one of his campaign rallies. He posted on social media, quote, "We should have a giant Make America Great Again rally for 250 instead of having overpriced singers who nobody wants to hear, whose music is boring, and yet who do nothing but complain." Now, let's get into today's main story. 37 years ago this week, the Chinese government sent troops into Tianenmen Square, a massive plaza in Beijing where pro-democracy activists had gathered to call for free speech and freedom of the press, among other reforms. Hundreds and possibly thousands of protesters died in the ensuing massacre, many of them young college students who had led a pro-democracy movement in the spring of 1989. Chinese dissidents and human rights activists will remember that dark day this week, still praying for freedom in China even after all these years. Religious and political freedom is marginal Still, with ethnic minorities targeted for detention and forced labor and the government recently cracking down on Christian churches and imprisoning pastors, the number of refugees trying to leave China has skyrocketed in the past 12 years, with the United Nations Refugee Agency tallying almost 181,000 Chinese people seeking asylum in 2024, compared to about 15,400 in 2012. This past week, one of those refugees made a remarkable journey out of the country. The New York Times and Wall Street Journal report that the Chinese dissident, Dong Guangping, who had been imprisoned in China multiple times in the past for his activism, rowed a small rubber dinghy about 11 feet long for more than 30 hours to reach South Korea. This was his fourth attempt to leave China. His family lives in Canada, and he has been trying to get there. I'll read briefly from the journal's report. Dong has been prosecuted by Chinese authorities for his human rights activism and advocacy of democratic freedoms. Dong was jailed from 2001 to 2004 on a charge of inciting subversion of state power, and he was detained again in 2014 after participating in an event honoring the victims of the 1989 Tianenmen Square protests. He was held for more than 8 months and fled to Thailand, where he sought asylum in 2015. He was recognized as a refugee by the UN's Refugee Agency, but he was detained by Thai police and sent back to China days ahead of his family's planned resettlement in Canada. His family moved there without him. After his return to China, Dong was detained for more than 30 months before he was brought to trial in 2018, when he was convicted and sentenced for inciting subversion of state power and illegally crossing national borders, according to the UN. After his release in 2019, Dong attempted to leave China again, this time by swimming to Tianenmen, a group of Taiwanese-controlled islands off the Chinese mainland. But he floundered at sea and was picked up by Chinese fishermen who handed him to the police. In 2020, Dong crossed the border into Vietnam and hid for more than 2 years before local police detained him. He was sent back to China, where he was jailed for 11 months. This past Monday, he was found by South Korean fishermen in the sea between China and the Korean peninsula. But he isn't out of danger yet, as evidenced by his multiple forced returns to China. South Korea has strict refugee admissions laws, and he is under scrutiny for violating immigration laws there. And he is reportedly only able to apply for refugee status after going through criminal proceedings for fleeing there at all. South Korea granted just 1% of refugee applications that were submitted last year. A recent Chinese dissident who fled there in 2023, named Kwan Pyong, arrived there on a jet ski. South Korean officials also charged him with illegal entry. He later traveled to the U.S. to ask for asylum. Let's stop there for today and go to the Lord together in prayer. Dear Father, always near us, may your name be treasured and loved. May your rule be completed in us. May your will be done here on earth in just the way it is done in heaven. Give us today the things we need today. And forgive us our sins and impositions on you as we are forgiving all who in any way offend us. Please don't put us through trials, but deliver us from everything bad. Because you are the one in charge, and you have all the power, and the glory too is all yours forever, which is just the way we want it. All right, thank you for joining me today. As always, the Morning Five is brought to you in partnership with the That Sounds Fun Network, supported by the Center for Christianity and Public Life. If you'd like to learn more about our work at CCPL, you can visit ccpubliclife.org. Hope you have a magnificent Monday.